You finally sit down to make a budget. You have watched the videos. You know the rule: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt. You enter your paycheck and start filling in the boxes. Then you get to rent. Rent alone takes almost half your income. Add utilities, groceries, transportation, and insurance, and you are past the needs limit before you have bought shampoo or put gas in the car. There is no 30% left for wants. There may not even be $20 left for wants. The math did not break because you are bad at budgeting. It broke because that budget was built for a paycheck with room in it. I'm Evan, and this is Evan Gets It, money questions for adults who feel like they missed the class. Today we are answering, how do you budget on a low income when almost every dollar is already spoken for? Here is the honest answer. Stop budgeting by percentages and start budgeting by priority and payday. A budget cannot create money that is not there, but it can protect the bills that keep your life functioning, stop important money from being spent accidentally, and show you exactly where the shortage is. When money is tight, a budget is not a beautiful spreadsheet. It is a plan for protecting the next most important dollar. Start by finding your survival number, the minimum required to keep your household safe and functioning for 1 month. Write down housing, basic utilities, groceries, medicine, insurance, necessary child care, and the transportation that lets you work. Include minimum debt payments, but separate them from expenses that would immediately threaten your housing, health, or ability to earn income. Use real numbers. Do not create a fantasy month where the car runs on positive thinking and nobody needs laundry detergent. Look at the last 2 or 3 months and use what life has actually cost. Then write down the income that reaches your account. Use take-home pay and other income you can reasonably count on. If it changes, do not build the budget around your best month. Use your lowest, normal month. Extra income can be assigned when it arrives. Rent cannot be paid with optimism. Now compare the two numbers. Suppose you bring home $2,000. After rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, medicine, your phone, and minimum debt payments, you have $40 left for household supplies, clothing, school costs, car repairs, birthdays, and every other surprise life has been saving for you. A percentage rule cannot fix that. But now you know the truth. This is not mainly a stop buying coffee problem. You have a $40 margin. Your budget must be designed around protection, timing, and avoiding expensive mistakes. Next, build a paycheck calendar. Write every payday on one page, then every bill and its due date. Match each bill to the paycheck responsible for it. Sometimes you have enough money for the month, but not during the correct week. Rent, insurance, and the car payment may all arrive before your second paycheck. You are not overspending across the month. You are getting crushed by timing. Once you see that, ask providers whether due dates can move. You are simply trying to make the calendar match the way you are paid. When each paycheck arrives, separate bill money immediately. A second checking account can help if you have access to a free one. Move the amount needed for bills due before the next paycheck and treat it as already spent. This prevents an easy mistake: checking your account, seeing $300, and thinking you have $300. You may actually have $70 plus $230 wearing a rent costume. Whatever remains becomes your spending number until the next payday. Break it into a weekly amount instead of trying to make one small pile survive an entire month. If you have $400 for groceries, gasoline, household supplies, and flexible expenses, think of it as about $100 per week. That gives you an early warning. You can notice on Wednesday that the week is getting expensive, instead of discovering on the 28th that the month got expensive. The weekly number can move. Extra gas may mean simpler groceries. A full pantry may free money for medicine. On a low income, flexibility is how the plan survives real life. You also need a small life happens category. Even $10 or $20 matters. Laundry, parking, cold medicine, a birthday, a school fee, or the mysteriously expensive light bulb your car suddenly needs are not always emergencies. They are normal, irregular expenses. If your budget assumes they never happen, the budget is the unrealistic one. And leave room for something enjoyable when you can. A plan that removes every pleasant thing may look disciplined, but it rarely lasts. Your enjoyment category may be one inexpensive meal, one streaming service, or $10 you can spend without holding a family meeting. Giving every dollar a job does not mean every job must be depressing. Next, build a tiny buffer before worrying about a giant emergency fund. When you are barely covering the month, save 6 months of expenses sounds like being told to build a lifeboat while you are underwater. Start with $50, then $100, then 1 week of essential expenses. That money can stop a late paycheck, prescription, flat tire, or high utility bill from becoming an overdraft fee or another credit card charge. The first purpose of savings is not to make you wealthy. It is to make the next problem less expensive. That buffer may need to come before large extra debt payments. Keep making required minimums, but do not send every available dollar to a credit card if the next small emergency will force you to use it again. A little distance between you and the next surprise can help stop the cycle. Now look for what leaves quietly. The phone plan, the internet tier, the insurance rate, the bank fee you have paid so many times you stopped noticing it, the subscription you forgot you still had. This is not about removing the one thing that makes you happy so a finance guy online can feel proud of you. It is about finding the money that is leaving without giving you anything back. $30 off a phone plan beats feeling guilty about coffee for the rest of your life. If the numbers still do not close after that, there are really only 3 moves left: reduce, renegotiate, or replace. Reducing means cutting where it actually matters: a large recurring bill, a service nobody uses, insurance you are overpaying for. Not spending 3 hours trying to save 40 cents on toothpaste. Renegotiating means picking up the phone before the bill is late, not after, and plainly asking for a different due date, a payment plan, or a lower rate. That call feels awkward for 2 minutes and can save you more than a month of cutting corners ever would. And replacing means bringing in something new when cutting is not enough anymore. A few extra hours somewhere, something sold, a cost split with someone else, or help you actually qualify for. Using assistance you qualify for is not failing. Food and electricity do not become optional just because your paycheck is smaller than someone else's. But do not build your regular budget around side hustle money you have not earned. Count extra income after it arrives. Otherwise, you can spend Wednesday's imaginary delivery money on Monday and discover that your car, schedule, or energy had other plans. Be careful with automatic payments. When your balance is tight, one badly timed payment can trigger several fees. Automate only what makes the system safer. Otherwise, use reminders and pay deliberately. Finally, check your budget once a week for 15 minutes. Look at what came in, what left, what bills are next, and how much remains in the weekly number. Then, make one adjustment. You do not need to investigate every purchase like a detective studying security footage. You just need to catch problems while they are small. And if your survival number is still higher than your reliable income, say it plainly. There is an income gap. You cannot cut $1,200 of necessities down to $900 forever without something breaking. The long-term plan must then include more than tracking expenses. It may require higher pay, more hours, training, a job change, lower housing costs, shared expenses, assistance, or some combination. Naming an income problem correctly is better than blaming yourself for a budgeting problem you do not have. Budgeting on a low income is harder because there is less room for error. A $20 mistake can be an inconvenience in one household and the beginning of 3 bank fees in another. That requires precision, flexibility, and constant decisions. If you are doing that every month, you are not bad with money. You are managing money on hard mode. So start here. Find your survival number. Map every bill to a paycheck. Protect the money when it arrives. Pay according to consequence, not whichever company sends the scariest email. Use a weekly spending number. Build a tiny buffer. Audit recurring costs. And if the numbers still do not fit, name the gap without shame and work on the correct problem. A low-income budget will not magically create abundance, but it can replace guessing with a plan. It can prevent one mistake from becoming 5 fees. It can help you protect what matters most and give the next dollar a clear job before someone else claims it. If this is the kind of money conversation you wish someone had explained sooner, subscribe to Evan Gets It. And tell me in the comments, what is hardest to budget right now? Groceries, housing, transportation, debt, or all the random expenses that somehow know payday is still 4 days away? Because adulthood is expensive, but it gets a little easier when the numbers finally make sense.